back to the Good Success Podcast. I am your host, Tom Olson, and I am here today with a special guest, Seeno Tucker, who is in right outside of New York City, New York. We're getting through this coronavirus. I talked to her a little bit before the show. They're talking maybe August. I don't know. Seeno, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Tom. Thanks so much. Yeah, it looks like it might be July 15th or so for us here.
Oh man, so we're not going to get to watch fireworks. We're probably not going to be able to, celebrate our freedom on July 4th. In New York City, there are places around the country, obviously, that are in a different shape there. But glad to have Seeno on. She's written a book. She's a realtor in New York City, and she's been able to pivot a little bit through this, and I'm glad to see that because I think in times of struggle, people either figure it out or they just give up and quit. And I'm glad to be on the line today with Seeno, who has really tried to make it happen, and is even though it's a struggle, is gonna make it through, right, Seeno?
Yep, all good. Yep, I'm gonna make it through for sure.
So she is a broker and vice president of development at Exit Realty, and she's written a book about how to, for realtors, about how to Rockstar's real estate agent 7 steps to making $100,000 a year. And I know for some people that listen to the audience, they may say $100,000 isn't really that much money, but I think for most agents that are starting, if they can get to that amount, it actually would be better than average. Most realtors that I know are probably, the average realtor I believe is doing about 30 deals a year, and they probably wouldn't really hit that $100,000 mark. So it is a really good thing to strive for and to be pushing for. And a lot of people need that push. I'm probably not the best person at trying to get people started, but that's why I got to have awesome Rockstar guests like Seeno on here to be able to help you. So how are you doing today from New York, Seeno?
I'm doing great, and you exactly hit the nail on the head there when you say that this book really is for agents who are pretty much, I would say, starting out or between 2 and 3 years in the business, who just really haven't found the right systems to get them to that money platform of about $100K to make. Because that's really why they went into the business, and that's what this book's here to do, to kind of help them.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. So before we get into the podcast, I just want to remind everybody, we haven't been pushing this lately, but I was reminded by my marketing team, hey, you need to be asking for 5-star reviews for the podcast. We've been getting thousands of extra downloads through this pandemic. Obviously, people need something to do. But if you would do us a favor right now and just go to iTunes and give us a 5-star review, that would really help the podcast and let other people know about it. And also tell your friends about it as well. We had Manny on a couple episodes ago that kind of went through the coronavirus itself. We had my pastor on last episode with our 200th episode, kind of giving some advice during times like this. It was great, and glad to have Seeno on today. But if you guys would go do that, that'd be great. Also want to remind you guys about a couple books that we've written here at Good Success: The Active Turnkey, the best way to buy rentals. And really what we do push is your journey, the 30 Days to Good Success journey. If you guys can pick up those books at www.goodsuccess.com, that'd be great. Also coming up just a couple weeks from now, June 24, 25, and 26, right here in Gary, Indiana, we will be having our next mastermind. And I was kind of concerned and nervous to see if our members were going to actually want to show up to a live event. And I've heard other people canceling all the way to the end of the year, but really to my surprise, I think every single person other than one person in our mastermind said, I'm going to be there this time because it's just time to get out of Dodge and get to somewhere. And the fact that it kind of went perfect for us in timing here with Indiana being completely open in stage 5, I believe. I'm at that point and everything, pretty much 100% open during that time, kind of worked in our favor. So we're really glad about that. Again, you guys can go to goodsuccess.com to find out more information about the Good Success Mastermind. If you're local to Northwest Indiana, we have a local mastermind as well that might interest you, that we have once a month, every single month. We haven't had these for the last 2 months, but our next event will be June 6th. So if you're right here in this Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland, we've got people all the way out to Rockford. Actually, I have somebody from Canada that comes down every single month because he's got properties in South Bend. So he just makes it a monthly trip to come down here to be a part of that local mastermind. If you guys are interested in those, again, like I said, www.goodsuccess.com. And you guys can get your tickets there. You guys can get, let Junior know, and he can help you there as well. One more thing, and we haven't been announcing this that much, but the Community Go-Giver, we have moved it from June. We were going to do it June 24, 25, and 26, but we have moved it to September 17th, and there'll be a 3-day event where we talk about how you can use real estate to have a positive impact on your community. And we do a bus tour right into Gary, Indiana, and show you how we are flipping the city of Gary, Indiana, one house at a time. How we are making a change where people are moving to Gary instead of away from Gary, Indiana. And we are making a difference here, and you can do so as well. So communitygogiver.com is the place to be able to get your tickets for that. We have adjusted some of the speakers just because some people can speak now that weren't going to be able to speak. So that list will be coming out soon, and we're excited about that. So that's going to do it for the beginning here, but we're going to get right into this episode with Seeno, and it's actually Jennifer Seeno Tucker. And I already kind of gave you guys a little bit of a bio about her, but Seeno, just tell us who you are, like kind of what brought you to this journey, and kind of why did you write this book, and how can you help our audience?
Yeah. So what kind of brought me to this journey was my own kind of struggle in real estate. I have a background in education. I've been an educator for 8 years, and kind of left that field after when I started my own kids fitness business, and it wasn't really successful. I utilized my mom, who was in the business for about 30 years, as my mentor in real estate, and I kind of get started with just doing rentals for her and really being her buyer's agent and just running everything for her. We realized as a team that we were able to really catapult our business together, and we just were able to leverage more time and make more money in the process. That's kind of where the journey began, but it was difficult to even get started, even with a mentor as my mom as my mentor. And I always, kind of struggled with that number, 100K. I guess I just figured that, all the bells and whistles and the trophies would be given once that 100K kind of platform was met. And that was kind of the goal. And that's kind of where I developed my own system, my own methodology for meeting that goal every year, year after year, and obviously growing into, a mid 6-figure business for myself. So that's kind of where it began. And I figured I could help other agents in the process. So we implemented a training program based upon my success and what steps I had taken within our own brokerage. And then I felt like I had to get this out to more people, because I could see that it was being duplicated by the agents in our office. It made sense to give it out to the masses, and that's why I wrote it on paper.
I love that. I love hearing your story. It kind of even started from failure. One of those things about every entrepreneur that we learn is that if you're not failing, you're not doing enough. You're not doing something, because kind of starts. And then you talked about learning from your mother. How was that? And honestly, I think that's awesome. Right now, I have 2 of my kids working for me right now. And to me, it's an amazing journey that I get to be able to go and help train that next generation. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's very interesting to me. I love that. Our next boot camp for the mastermind is actually the family office boot camp, because I think that the family core has lost this part that they can be in business together, and they can build things for hundreds of years together if they really work together as a team.
Yeah. So early on, growing up, mom and dad had a small oil business where they delivered oil to families and homes. And I kind of got my entrepreneurial spirit through that kind of, and just seeing dad work all the time. And he was always just caring for other people who were homeowners and taking care of them. I think that's where this kind of came into play. And then mom was successful on her own, and she had built this big business, and like I said, really successful on her own. And I just thought there was a way for me to carry this legacy, because we still stayed within the same hometown and community, and all of our network was in the community. And I just felt like I could, reach the next generation as well if I came on and help them out too. But I totally agree that it's lost. And I have my 14-year-old daughter now, and she's already my paper shredder. So
awesome.
I'm all for college if that's what she wants to do, but I've already told her at 18 she's getting her real estate license. So
you know what's really awesome is that my 14-year-old daughter is actually right now catching all of our podcasts up. We have 2 different podcasts, the Active Turnkey podcast and this podcast, up on show notes. So she's going through, listening to all of them. So hi, Lily. I'm glad that you get to hear this. But she's doing that for us. And what's cool for me is she gets to learn from all the great people we have on our podcast. She gets to hear all these things. She gets to hear Dad's corny jokes so she can make fun of me. You know, she was making fun of me a little bit this morning at the breakfast table. You know, but it's great. And you said something at the beginning of your story as well that really stood out to me, is that you could actually make more working together as a team instead of trying to do it all yourself. And I mean, I see so many entrepreneurs out there beating their head up against the wall because they are a solopreneur, because they never really figure out that team concept, how to create culture, how to get along with other people, and how to sometimes not be right and be submissive to other, you know, opinions about the workplace. And it's even more interesting to do it with your family, because I don't know why, but it seems like we've lost this in America, especially. Other countries still work together as families, and families still kind of have that long-term thinking. But in the United States here, we've kind of lost that a little bit.
Yeah, we even see that in real estate now. I mean, I grew, you know, you see a lot of families kind of spreading out, right? Mom and dad are in one place, kids are in another, you know, and aunts and uncles are all over the place as well. What I'm seeing in my little kind of niche market that I work in Nassau County, is more and more extended families are looking for bigger and bigger homes, which obviously, you know, is going to increase the price point, bigger commissions for me. So we're really looking to kind of bring the family back home with a mixed community.
Yeah, I love that. And I even think the psychology has changed through this coronavirus pandemic that we've gone through. And, you know, I'm hopeful. You know, I think I always believe we ought to be counting our blessings, you know, in good times and bad. And I think one of the blessings is that we've been forced to spend time with those loved ones, and we've been forced to kind of stay home. And, you know, for me, I've been able to grow stronger relationships with my kids. And I think that we are going to start thinking along those lines. Maybe we move outside the big cities a little bit farther, and maybe we have bigger houses, or maybe we have several houses in the same street with all of our family members. But I think that'd be great. So I love all of your community, you know, focus, and trying to, and really like something else that you said that really sticks out to me that I love about you, and I love about, you know, anybody really that does this, is the work to have to give spirit, that like, I'm going to learn something and I'm not just going to keep it for myself, but I want to write a book. I want to teach other people the journey I've been on, so that way it's not doesn't just stop with me. It continues on. And that's, again, you know, it's what's on my shirt right now: work to have to give. It's be a conduit, not a bucket. And if we so many people live so selfishly that they don't ever think that any struggle that they have can be profitable to other people. So I really appreciate that. So basically, so what does your day-to-day business look like? You are a realtor then? Basically, you're a broker. You're, you know, out finding deals. You have
I'm an associate broker. I'm one of the top producers in the office. And yeah, my day begins just like everyone else's day, where I'm prospecting typically in the morning, meeting with a past client or a client midday at lunch, and then follow up pretty much in the afternoon, and maybe taking out a client later on. I mean, it all gets, you know, kind of haphazard, and it kind of just falls into place. I believe that block planning really kind of helps us, although things are always kind of being moved and shifted. But I would say that that's really a typical day for me. And then by the evening, I'm home taking care of my daughter. So it's been a good life. It's treated me well, and I'm glad, because I always was the sibling that said, I'll never go into real estate because it takes up too much of your time. But it's actually been my greatest blessing, and I'm glad to be doing it. So. Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because that's something else that me and my kids talk about. I think sometimes kids don't want to get into their parents', you know, business, because they see the struggle sometimes that the parents have to go through. But on the flip side, yes, any business you get into is going to take a lot of work, and I think that's the shiny object that everybody doesn't really want to face. They think that they want to keep changing businesses because they think it's easier somewhere else. It's not easier anywhere else. You have to work. But the great thing about real estate is it gives you the freedom to choose when to work to a certain degree, and when to be with your family, and when to go on vacation, and when to do. And now, does that mean that you may not take a phone call on vacation? No, it doesn't mean that. But it does mean that, you still have the liberty to be able to do those things, and you're not kind of tied down as much. So I think that I love that. It's awesome.
As agents, I think we still have the mindset that we're a paycheck or commission-based employee. And it's that where we need to shift to more of a business owner and treat ourselves as a business, that we are the CEO of our own company. It's hard for agents, especially when they have gone from the 9 to 5 into real estate, to realize that you're not just stuck in that one quadrant. You have to advance to that next quadrant to become a business owner, so that you can be more in a financially freeing position, as well as take the next step into investor too.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, because it's a lot of books that I've read. And have you gotten into any books or anything that you recommend that kind of like started making you think that way?
Yeah, well, I just love Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I mean, it's all the basis of the cash flow quadrant, so that you can, you don't make wealth on that left-hand side, right? You're not going to become wealthy. Got to shift over into business owner and investor. And again, that's where I see a lot of agents kind of struggle, that they don't know how to let go of that commission and think outside the box. It comes from fear, in my opinion. I had my own struggles with it, and that's kind of what brought the book about Become a Rockstar Real Estate Agent, was letting go of that fear of, I have this paycheck, how do I let go of it? It's putting food and steak and chicken on the table. How do I take it to the next level so that I become wealthy?
That's awesome. So you kind of started alluding to that you've had your own struggles, and that's kind of the next question that we have to ask. So what has been, Jennifer Seeno Tucker's biggest struggle, in life, in period, in business, life, however you want to help us there?
The inability to let go of control. You talked about entrepreneurs, and I think it takes a really strong person to be an entrepreneur, to put yourself out there and take risks when there are multiple challenges given to you. And we're always trying to do it right. I feel like entrepreneurs are always trying to get everything kind of perfect and right, and like you had said, building a team, but we always kind of want to do it ourselves. It's that ability to let go of control is really what helped me to catapult my business and take it on and really grow from it. So I was able to really dive down deep into my own core, my personal core, my soul, and develop a truly intimate relationship with God and myself to expand my business.
That's awesome. And I'm glad you mentioned God there, because obviously that's core roots with good success, having the right kind of success. And if we've learned anything from this pandemic that we've just gone through, it's that we can't control everything.
No, not at all. We don't control. My initial, my initial let go of control, and I want to say it was like more like a little taste of it, was my daughter's father was in a serious car accident, suffered a traumatic brain injury. And, when the doctor tells you that you have let's see what happens to him in 30 days, that's when it's like, oh, I really can't do anything about this situation. It's ultimately up to my higher power to take care of this and to take care of him. So that was the taste. And then I was seeing that I was struggling in business and was wondering why. And it was because I was focusing on making money and getting to that number, as opposed to focusing on the relationship. And that was the letting go of control that I saw.
Yeah, I think too many of us are trying to, at least I just see it on Facebook, you see it on social media, even the media right now is trying to control everybody's thoughts, and and half the stuff you can't even post on social media if they don't 100% agree with you, because they'll block you. It's kind of gotten out of hand, and it's interesting to me, for the last 3 or 4 months, you have like half the group, half the people out there yelling and complaining at people that won't wear masks because they're inconsiderate and they don't have any feelings for anybody else and they're only thinking about themselves. And then the other half of people think that everybody that's wearing a mask is stupid. And I'm like, at the end of the day, like, guys, either one of your opinions might matter, fine, but like at the end of the day, does it really matter?
Right.
It doesn't really matter. And in 10 years from now, you're probably going to be ashamed of yourself for the way you acted during this. And I would just encourage everybody to be kind and to make sure that those core values of what you really want to be known for are important. And don't stake your last breath on an anthill that doesn't really matter. So be careful about that, which kind of leads us to our next question, which is, why do you do what you do? So I think that it has to be important to you what you do. And, that focus is really important, especially during times that we've gone through, is trying to stay focused and stay diligent and, not let fear and worry kind of, get us. But, one of the things that I've told my employees and I've told our listeners, throughout this, is to restate that purpose. Why did you get in business in the first place? Why do you really want to make this happen? And, so it's a question I always like to hear from our guests on the podcast is, why do you do what you do?
I know exactly why, and that was my own search as well with Simon Sinek in his book, Find Your Why. My why is really to connect with people. I feel like I have this natural kind of instinct to kind of just go and help people out and make that connection. And I don't just view selling houses as a sale. I really view it as becoming part of their realtor for life and for their family and friends. So that's really why I do what I do, is to make connections with people in order to help them.
That's really great. And it's kind of funny. I have a Rockstar. So my wife is a realtor, but she kind of does it by default, just because of our businesses and the stuff that other things that we have going on.
Just pick up my book, Tom. I'm gonna help her out.
But trust me, she has enough going on. So we've actually talked about starting a brokerage and going down that path, and we could. But I mean, she also manages 16 vacation rentals, and she also helps us acquire houses for our turnkey operation, and she also designs that projects, and she's a mother, and she's a wife, so she's got a lot going on.
Okay, she's got enough. She's good.
Yeah. And I mean, actually, if anything, I need to tell her. I try to get on her for saying no. To say, hey, babe, you can't overcommit. We just can't do this anymore. So, and she's a rock star in her own outright. But, now I forgot where I was going because I started talking about my beautiful wife. But anyways, Oh, I know where I was going. But we have another rock star in this area, realtor, that we use, I shouldn't say occasionally, but probably for about half of our sales. It's not just because, we don't think Becky could sell on my wife, but we just think like half of them she has enough time for. My wife only has enough, time to actually be the listing agent on about half of them. So we give them to this other Rockstar agent, and she has the exact same mindset that you have. And it's not all about how much money she's making. It's really all about like, how can I help this person? And I just got a phone call from her yesterday. She's trying to sell some lots, and they're like literally a couple grand. And she's just like, this poor guy, he overpaid for him. He's owned them for 5 or 6 years. He just needs to get rid of them. If you're interested, she's like, I'm just going to get out of the deal and just let you do what you do. And at the end of the day, it's because she really wants to just help her community. And she wants to be that person's realtor for life, like you said. And, but on the flip side, what you find out, especially if you read like one of my favorite books, The Go-Giver, you get the money. The money is a result. Everybody puts the money as like, give me the money first, and then I'll give you my effort. It doesn't work that way. You put the effort in, you create the value, and then the money comes. She probably is one of the highest paid realtors in this area, and she's not even a senior broker. She's one of the highest paid brokers underneath, that in that brokerage. She's always in the top 3 or 4, and she doesn't even do big commercial deals. Most of her deals are just bread and butter houses, but she's selling like just 7 or 8 closings a week, it seems like. Why? Because she really focuses on that helping that customer, and it's really true. And I don't think that we stress it enough, that when you go into a bank, you can't expect them to pay you interest until you've put money in the bank. We can't expect heat from a fire until we put wood in that fireplace. And that's what this is. And I love that. So I appreciate that. So what exciting, you probably talked about your book, and maybe we can talk about your book now, but what exciting project or event do you have working on right now that you'd like our audience to know about?
Oh, well, we're stuck in this pandemic thing, so there's not too much kind of brewing right now, but my business has stayed steady, which I'm pretty grateful for. What we're doing for the community and what we always do is we always do an August ice cream social, so I'm hoping that that's going to take place soon, and we'll get clearance for it, so to speak. We just like to help out the community with some backpack programs when it comes back to school. So we've got some things kind of coming up and brewing, but everyone is still, I feel like, transitioning and not know what this new world might look like, or if it's going to change or if it won't. So it's hard to kind of tell or to get grounded in being prepared for what this might look like, because we're still not deemed essential at this point. I mean, we're deemed essential, but we're not really allowed to do much or show properties. So that's kind of what's kind of going on. So it's kind of still an iffy scenario here in New York for us.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting to point out, because most of the audience that's going to be listening is not in those types of situations. They're in other parts of the country where everything's open, and maybe they're going to the beach and they're doing their normal summer stuff at this point. And so I think it's important for our listenership to continue to pray for those people that are still on lockdown, and to continue to be mindful and kind, about the things that we say and about the things that we do, because there are people that are really hurting during this whole thing as well. So I know that you have a book. Tell us a little bit about the book, and maybe how our audience can get a hold of you, or if you have a website or a phone number or Facebook, or some kind of event page, or however you want to promote that book.
I'd love to give your audience, they can download my book for free. It's called Become a Rockstar Real Estate Agent, 7 Steps to Make $100K a Year. They can download the book for free at rockstaragenttraining.com. And that's where they can just kind of put in their information, and they can download the book for free. It'll be out in Audible, I believe, here come July, and then the print book is coming out in late November, December. So you can pick up one for your brokerage, hand on out for Christmas gifts.
Awesome. So it's Rockstar Agent Training.com? Yep,
rockstaragenttraining.com.
All right, so if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, this will be in the comments. You guys can also, we will link to that as well. And so rockstaragenttraining.com, pick up your free book. And right now might be a great time to record that Audible, since you have time on your hands at home, right, or somewhere. So get yourself a good mic and make it happen. That'd be
exactly
awesome. I'm actually, considering doing that myself. I haven't done Audible with any of my books, but I do think it's something that I need to do. I've been kind of hitting myself over the head for not doing it.
Right.
But I think that's awesome. So thanks for being on, Jennifer. I have 2 questions that I ask every single person that comes on this, and it's kind of about who we are and what good success is all about. And good success for us means something. It really it speaks to the right kind of success. It speaks to the Christian roots that we have here. But when you heard that term, or when you just heard good success, and you said, I'm going to be on the Good Success podcast for the first time, or maybe you know about us. I'm not quite sure how much you know about who we are and what we do. But when you hear that word, good success, what does that mean to you? What does good success mean to you?
I mean, the first thing is just really positive. I mean, it's such a cool name to keep everything so positive, and to keep those kind of a mantra kind of going, so to speak, that everything is going to happen. And really, what is good success, and how do we value what that looks like based upon your morals and values? And that's kind of what the podcast and its name kind of means to me.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I always just like to hear people's different take on that. And
I think it's really cool.
And I mean, really, we could have picked the name Great Success, and
right.
And we actually could have got that name cheaper. We actually paid more for the URL, for good success than what we would have been able to pay for great success. But we just liked it, and we thought it came from Joshua 1:8 in the Bible, and we were pleased with that. So again, one last question. Again, we ask every one of our guests this question. If you were to leave the audience with just one thing, whether it's a tip, a book, a philosophy, whatever it is, just give our audience one piece of advice, what would that be?
Focus on your relationships as opposed to the transactions, because the relationships are going to be the ones that is going to be the thing that builds your business, and it's not going to be just one single transaction.
Yeah, I love that. So focus on the relationships. That is great. Focus on the relationships. And really, it kind of goes back to what you said. You're focused on the people and trying to help them, listening to what their needs are and then helping them. It's awesome.
Never pass up any meeting. I guess that would be my second tip. Never pass up a meeting, because you don't know who that person is or where their background is coming from and what kind of help you can give them.
Yeah, for us, there's a statement in a lot of the groups that I'm a part of, and they say your network is your net worth. Mm-hmm. And I kind of add to that because I think we're seeing it right now. Why I add to it, but I add to it. Your network is not only your net worth; it's also your survival plan. So during these times right now is when we really find out who our real true friends are, and we really can lean on them. And the people we can lean on, we know, hey, they really do. We've provided enough value to them, maybe, that now they're willing to kind of help us out when we're going through. Mm-hmm. So I love that. Focus on the relationship. So anything else you want to add before we close up, Jennifer?
I just want to say, Tom, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to give your audience some of my knowledge, and I hope they are able to download that book for free.
Yeah, I can't wait to download it myself and give it to my wife and let other people know about it locally here. So I'm excited about it. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you guys are interested in the mastermind, goodsuccess.com. If you guys would go to Apple and give us a 5-star review on the podcast. If there's anything else that we can do for you guys here at Good Success, we have been doing some other virtual events, and we also have the business consulting that I've been doing for people as well. I'd love to be able to hop on a phone call with you guys and be able to help you in any possible way that we can. We love you here at Good Success. We've been praying for everybody, and we hope that you guys have a good day. So that's going to do it for today's episode. Remember to be a conduit, not a bucket. Work to have to give.